Hey, Britt. Thanks for joining us. Hey, Britt. Thanks for joining us. Hey, Britt. And there I did mute again. There. All right, guys. Welcome to the first episode of Call of the Deep. You are all starting in the city of Neverwinter, which is still under heavy construction after having been destroyed by a volcanic eruption. Not long ago, just about a month or so ago, a object fell from the sky and crashed near the island of uh, Gundarlun. The king of Gundarlun, a human man named Olgrave Redax, has sent a delegation to Daggle Neverember to gather interested parties in investigating this crash and to determine if it poses any threat to his people or to the people of the Sword Coast. And so you have all signed on to the ship, the Voyage, to take part in that mission to go investigate this crashed object. Over the past few days, you've been collecting supplies, scrubbing decks, and stocking the Voyage. The sturdy caravel is captained by Arvine Graysail and is headed for Gundarlun tomorrow morning. You form some close friendships with other folk during the preparation and are eager to set sail. For now, though, you have a final night in Neverwinter to let loose before leaving dry land for the next 8 days. So, as you're all preparing to either take some R&R on board the ship or whether you intend to disembark and patronize some of the taverns in Neverwinter, why don't you describe your characters? Baxian, why don't you start us off?
All right. So Baxian is a turtle. You've never met a more happy-go-lucky attitude on a turtle ever. He's got a huge appreciation for the sea. He's been growing up next to it, and he began sailing as soon as he was able to leave his hometown. He's 6 foot tall. He's got mostly turtle features, big shell on his back. He's never seen without his purple bandana on his head, and sometimes he isn't seen at all because he's hiding in the shadows. It's because he's not only a sailor, but he's also a rogue.
All right. Um, let's go to Braun.
Okay, I'm Ron. I am a hill dwarf uh, cleric, the forge cleric. Um, I am 4'2", about 160 pounds. Um, Kind of young for a dwarf. I'm only 60 years old, but my hair is already turned kind of a silverish gray. It had something to do with um, whenever I was forging a sword. Not sure exactly what happened, but I was putting everything into the sword, and it kind of, I guess, it leached some of the life out of me. Um, I have commissioned this sword for a nobleman, and my god Morden told me in a dream not to give the sword to him, that I had to give it to someone that was true of heart. And now this nobleman is actually after me, trying to find out where I hid the sword, and because he found out it has a few powers that my God gave it to while I was forging. And so that's the reason why I decided to take this journey, is to try to get some distance between his thugs and maybe give me some time to figure out what else I need to do.
All right. So next, let us go to Capicia.
Capissa.
Capissa.
Yeah. Capissa is a rather fishy fellow, to be blunt. A towering 5'2". He is coated in the self-same sort of fishy scales befitting an aquatic life. He has this sort of flowing blue, almost like jellyfish-like tendril hair with this sort of like a gleam of thick fish line. Definitely a native of the land beneath the waves. He is a Triton. And already adding on to that sort of imperious nobility, Capissa is a literal noble, in addition to his giving paladin-like Triton background. And as a result, he is adorned with the, as far as ocean-going wear is concerned, the finest of regalia. These sort of like sea stone-shaped bits of armor, a magical-looking trident of finely tuned and crafted metallurgy. He is strong, sturdy, knowing, generous, but all the while rather stiff, as a cat interrupteth. Yeah, he is he's a noble on a journey.
All right. Let's go to Batten.
Hailing from Waterdeep, Vatten is a water genasi, if I'm saying that right. For the most part, he looks human. The only distinction feature really that put him aside are the blue in blue eyes. He also has 3 scars on each side of his neck, which open up to gills when necessary. And on closer inspection, you might notice a faint smell of fresh river water. He is a cleric in service to Torm, and is currently a member of the Order of the Gauntlet, here to protect those that need protecting. Very simple, really.
All right. And Torg.
Okay, Torg Roll is a human bard who comes from a desert village far off from here. His village was, well, he always grew up on stories from adventurers who would pass through his village, and he had a desire to follow in their footsteps and learn more about the world, which makes him very curious. His village was attacked at some point by goblins, and while he doesn't hold it too strongly against the goblins because they were just trying to make ends meet and no one was really hurt, there was property damage, and he went out to adventure and gain money to help rebuild his village. It's a good excuse to adventure.
All right. And so each of you have the opportunity to, if you desire, to make your way down into the city with the rest of the crew. Most of the crew is going to disembark and hit the taverns before set sailing in the morning. 6 crew members remain on board. Who wants to stay on board, and who wishes to go and participate in the taverns?
So I think the first thing I'm going to do is, can I introduce my character?
Who did I miss? Zenera.
Xanareth.
Yep, please do.
So I'm standing on the deck of the ship, staying out to the sea. What you see before you is a dark pink tiefling, 26, average height, a little bit slim, with black hair that comes back to a long braid. His right horn is actually chipped on the front, and he looks a little bit worn. A few years back, he was in the military, and his hometown was destroyed, and which led him to seek a scholarly life. And as part of that, his group has sent him to sort of explore whatever this crash was for the knowledge of it, not for wealth or anything, but to see what there is to see. And so he's off on this adventure to record what happens.
All right. So now that I've given everybody the opportunity to introduce their character, who wishes to remain on the ship and who wishes to disembark?
I think Griffin would stay on the ship.
I think Braun would head to the tavern,
Okay.
along with some of the other party members.
All right. So if you would, in the chat room, go ahead in the chat of the Fantasy Grounds, just type whether you're ship or tavern, so I can see.
I think I would go off to the tavern because I've probably never seen a city as large as Neverwinter, even if it is under construction.
All right.
Capissa would probably ask Captain Graysail first, as assuming this is taking place at night. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So around dusk, we'll say Capissa will stroll out and then goes, "Captain, what's thee liketh us to stayeth on the ship?"
I have given you all leave for the evening. Just try not to get too drunk.
Ah, wonderful. I shall best straight.
Yeah,
With that,
she
you will-
is in her cabin poring over charts and maps and
Xanareth would probably, he hasn't really been to Neverwinter much, so I don't know that he's going to be in the tavern so much as like wandering around town and checking stuff out.
Okay, so Xanareth's wandering around the town. All right. All right, so Batten, you notice that remaining on the ship are Captain Graysail. There's also a human, very savage-looking gentleman named Store Hornraven. He is the messenger from Gundarlun and is here on behalf of King Olgrave Redax. Also staying on the ship is Quara Alisandar, a half-elven gentleman that looks a little bit weaselly, that has just signed on to this venture, and also a young Chondathan human woman named Shandari Dundragon, and she is a member of the Order of the Gauntlet and has come on behalf of the church to lend her aid in healing and protecting the crew of the Voyage while they're on their journey. Would you like to interact with any of them?
Sure, I can make some light chit chat.
All right, who would you like to talk to?
Gonna spend like I don't know, 10 minutes like talking to each one.
Okay. Who do you want to start with?
Start with the first one, the human. What was his name? Starl?
Store Hornraven.
Hornraven.
Yep.
Okay. Go say hello to the fella.
Yeah, he is. You haven't even left the dock yet, and he's sitting there on the edge of the ship, looking a little bit green.
Oh dear. I go offer him some water.
Thank you, but I think I need something a little stronger than that.
And you'll probably need to head to the tavern with the rest of them.
I'm not here for that. I need strong drink, but until I return to my king, that is not going to happen.
Fair enough. Anything else I can help you with?
He says, no, not really. Not until we get to Gundarlun, then there will be plenty for all of us to do. Hopefully, there won't be anything for us to do on this journey, but with the pirates about, I'm afraid that we'll have no luck there.
That's right. Well, we'll hope for the best, expect the worst.
He just kind of gives you a nod.
Yeah. With that, I'll go talk to one of the other people, the elf.
All right.
Alessandra?
Yep, Quara Alessandar. And he is just sitting on a crate sharpening knives that he pulls out from under his clothing, and you don't see how he's hiding them. But there are a number.
Evening to you. Hello?
He says, evening. You there?
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Hello?
I can hear you. Yes, he said
Yeah, I can
evening.
hear. Oh, nice night, I guess, if it is.
He kind of looks up at the sky and I suppose.
So what are your thoughts on this thing they've going to go see?
I'm just hired onto the ship. Sailing needs done and I'll sail. Don't much care about some rock that falls from the sky.
Fair enough. Well, have a good evening. And I'll go talk to the last person.
There's still Chandri Dundragon, the human priestess, and there's also the captain. Hello?
Yep. I'll go introduce myself, but I won't really like do any major talking. I'll sort of just say hello, then I'll go do a prayer and do some night fishing.
You'll say hello to who?
To the priestess, Dundragon, and Shendry.
Okay. Yep.
Just to be friendly, say hello.
Yep. Chandri is sitting off to the side, and as you approach, she has her eyes closed and appears to be silently muttering a prayer to Helm.
I'll leave it to that then.
All right.
Don't want to interrupt someone's prayers.
Yep. So you make your way back to the cabin of Captain Graysail. And she's still poring over charts and making plans.
So I'll just say, evening, Captain.
She kind of looks up and says, "Ah, yes. And who were you again?"
I am Vatan. I'm here with the Order of the Gauntlet.
Ah, yes, yes. I trust that in the coming days you will be of aid to us. I hope that your sword arm is not necessary, but it is good to have you along.
Oh, glad to be along.
She says, "Does the Order of the Gauntlet have any ideas about this? Have the gods revealed to us anything?"
Well, if they have, they haven't told me.
Unfortunate.
Is there anything I can help you with this night, Captain?
I'm just rechecking the charts. Provided the weather stays fair, it looks like we should be in Gundarlun in about 8 days.
Sounds good to me.
You chose not to partake of the amenities on land while you still have the chance.
No, I just thought I'd say hello to everyone on the ship and then get some night fishing in.
Oh, well. I trust you will have some luck.
Well, I hope so too.
Good evening.
Good evening. Who else is with her?
That is it. That's everyone that's on the ship currently.
Okay. I'll find a good spot on the side of the ship and start doing some fishing.
All right. Give me a survival check. You catch a few small fish, but they just don't seem to be biting like you would have hoped this evening.
Then the odds.
All right, so for those of you who are in the taverns carousing with the other sailors, anything in particular that you wish to do?
Barad's going to look over at Torg and say, I have a little problem. I like to drink a little bit too much. Could you kind of keep me in check and let me know if I start getting a little bit too into my cups?
Lord?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'll let you
I,
know.
I would definitely appreciate that. I just it's my one flaw is that I really like my ale and wine.
So I'll try to hold you back, but if you push through me, it's not my fault.
I understand. I do I just don't want to dishonor myself.
I understand.
Yep. So half of the crew seems to gravitate toward a tavern called the Driftwood, and the rest head to one called the Laughing Bean. Who
Well, I guess
wishes
I'll
to go to
follow.
which?
I guess I'll follow whichever one the dwarf is going to.
Ron, which tavern do you want to go to?
The Laughing Bean.
Okay, you head to the Laughing Bean with Torg. Bax.
Yeah, I think he's going to tag along and go to the Laughing Bean. It sounds like a good place to hang out.
All right. Kapissa.
No finer gentlemen here. I think we should stay together.
All right, so Laughing Bean it is. Xanareth, you are wandering through the streets of Neverwinter. You said you had never been to quite that large of a city?
Neverwinter in particular. And I'd probably be interested in the bigger, fancier buildings, especially ones that are under construction, just to see what it looks like when they're kind of half destroyed.
All right, excellent. Yeah, you're wandering around, and as would be expected, you notice that the palaces and the estates of the nobles are being repaired at a much quicker rate than the common construction in the lower quarters. The peasantry seems to be living in homes that they have cobbled together themselves as the construction is going apace.
Interesting. All right. I'll as I go, I'll probably be like taking notes about things I think look really interesting, whether or not they actually are, or whether they're significant at all. To me, they seem interesting.
All right. And you can give me a perception check as well.
Sure. Ooh.
All right. Give me just 1 second to look at your sheet. So you've been wandering for a couple of hours, and people are out having a good time in the cool evening, and you've been bumping shoulders with others. The streets aren't too crowded at this hour of the night, but there are plenty of other people out and about. And about halfway through the night, you decide, that you might want to stop and have some dinner, but when you reach down for your coin purse, it is gone.
What's coming? That's what I get. All right, so I am broke. All right.
Did you keep all your coin in one purse?
Almost certainly not.
A couple of coins in the boots.
I've been to cities before, but not city-wise by any means. So, yeah, I am probably broke then. At which point, I'd probably wander back to the ship to see if I can rustle up some food on the ship.
All right, being unfamiliar with Neverwinter, give me a survival check. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, you're able to perfectly retrace your steps and make your way all the way back to the ship, no problem.
Fantastic. I found a few of your fish along the way.
All right, for those at the Laughing Bean. So the tavern is packed with sailors. There is a female bard in the corner playing a lute and singing some very raunchy seafaring tunes. Everybody is having a really good time. Drinks are flowing, and Ron, you're not sure whether maybe this individual overheard you before as you were talking to Torg, but one of the other sailors says, "How about a drinking contest?"
I pat him on the shoulder and say, "Only if it's water, my friend, right?"
Okay, thank you, very much. Yes, I can't do a drinking contest. We sail with the tide in the morning. Otherwise, I would be happy to oblige you.
He will turn to the turtle, Baxian, and say, "What about you, friend? Surely you're not going to be a stick in the mud."
Oh well, I don't know. I guess I could drink with you. I don't know. Maybe.
That's the spirit. Come on up.
Okay, let's do this.
I've got no obligation to keep him sober.
All right. So he orders a couple of shots of rum and hands you one, and he takes one and he downs it. And since it's your first drink, you can give me a Constitution saving throw with advantage. All right. As you both slam your shot glasses down on the bar, people are now gathered around to kind of watch the turtle. People here just aren't very familiar with their kind, and now this is kind of gathering some interest. This strange individual involved in this drinking contest. So he orders another couple of shots, and you both take another drink, and you can give me another Constitution saving throw.
Oh, this is really good. Yeah, let's have another round then. Did you say advantage?
Not advantage on this one. No.
Okay.
Yeah, and so he is starting to look a little wobbly, and he says, "What about another one?"
Yeah, I'd love another one. As long as you're buying, yes.
Right. So go ahead and give me another Constitution saving throw. Yeah, you're starting to feel a little lightheaded.
Oh, that one got to me a little.
Yeah.
So we'll like lean in and just go, Floatwender, how valorous art with thy drinking? You appear uneasy.
Oh, I think I'm okay. Oh, I don't know.
The guy
Maybe.
said, "Another round," and gets 2 more shots. Now you're gonna make it with disadvantage.
All right.
All right. So you are just feeling really out of it now. Really feeling the effects of the alcohol.
Oh, that one was
pretty dizzy.
Oh.
He orders up another one, says, "Another round."
I don't know.
You're looking and you see 4 shot glasses now sitting there on the bar.
Why did you order 4? Or is that 8?
Can I use my bardic inspiration to help him out a little?
You certainly can.
Yeah, so I think, see, I don't know how I click that on here, but yeah, I'd like to give him...
So you would select his character, target his character, click on yourself on the combat tracker, and then hold the control key, and then click him,
Okay, so control key and click Capissa, right?
No, Baxian.
Action. Oh, right. Capissa's not having a problem.
Right. So now on your character sheet on the Actions tab,
All right. Find Bardic Inspiration, and
yeah, change the down at the very bottom. You'll see where it says Mode and Display. Change the display to Actions.
Actions.
Yep, and then hit the effect there beside the Bardic Inspiration, and it will add that to him.
Okay. So I pat him on the back and say, like, you can do this, to give him Bardic Inspiration.
Yep. And you need to go ahead and click the effect button that's right there by it.
I thought I did, or...
Yeah, it gave me Bardic Inspiration.
Oh, it did? Oh, because I'm looking... Okay, yep. I see the effect on you now. All right. And make sure you check off one of the ticks that you did use that Bardic Inspiration. All right. So he reaches down, and it takes him a couple of times to manage to actually grab the right shot glass. He says, "Bottoms up, my friend."
It's a disadvantage.
Yep.
And the Bardic Inspiration.
Yep. All right. So you're sitting there and you're feeling really, really woozy. And suddenly this guy just starts grabbing for the bar, but his fingers can't seem to grab anything. And he just kills over backwards and falls onto the floor.
I believe I win!
Oh, Leaf.
Yeah, his friends are laughing and everybody's patting you on the back, and some of the other sailors, kind of drag him off to take him back to the ship to recover.
Oh, that was one of our guys.
Right, yeah, it's one of the sailors that's on your ship.
Well, I'm sure he'll get in lots of trouble with the captain in the morning.
You think so? You think the captain will get mad about that?
He's a sailor. It'd be fine.
Yep, the rest of the night goes by in carousing and drinking and fun. Starts getting pretty late. How long are you all going to stay?
I'm thinking a couple hours.
Okay.
Yeah. Enough to get the full 9 hours of sleep before having to be up.
Yeah, you're about to walk out, and when the bartender points to Baxi and says, "You! Hey, you! You still haven't paid for those shots you and your friend drank."
He was paying for those.
He didn't pay for anything.
What about all the entertainment everybody got?
Entertainment doesn't pay for my drinks.
Well, they ordered more, didn't they?
They would have ordered more anyway. You owe me for all the shots you drank.
Oh, okay.
That'll be 8 silvers.
8 silver. Oh, well, you see, I thought he was buying them. I don't have any money.
Now there are some large gentlemen with pulling belaying pins to use as clubs. And she says, "You're paying one way or the other." Or the bartender says. Yeah.
And
Wage.
What's that?
Float Wender, thou art out of wage. Yes?
Speak common, man.
I am. I learned common in the most refined studios.
Well, I don't know what that is, but they didn't learn it to you very well.
Well, introductions then. I am Gentle Capisa Claris Soth, second eldest of Therosa, issue of the ocean and servant of the world. I would happily pay this man's wage, if it pleaseth you.
I don't care where the coin comes from, only that it is delivered.
Capissa will reach into this strange little looking pouch. It looks like it's made from like the hide of a starfish or something like that, and pulls out a single gold coin. Before handing it off.
Before handing it off what?
He hands it over.
Oh, okay. Yep. The
Thou art
barkeep kind of looks at it, bites it, shrugs, and gives you your change. And after that, you all are able to make your way out of the tavern and back to the ship if that is what you wish to do.
Yes.
Gee,
All right.
Capissa, thanks for paying that. I thought it was going to get rough there for a minute.
As did I. However, Throatwender, you cannot walk around without coin in thy pocket.
Oh, I didn't have any with me. I didn't know we would need it.
Well, an error for you to learn next time.
Oh, yeah. I'll keep that in mind.
Just a question here. Does he even have pockets?
I'm going to help our section to walk. I'll, kind of put my arm around him so he doesn't weave down the road too much.
We should all make sure Baxian gets home, or at least to the ship, all right?
Oh, yes, definitely.
So the group of you walk back to your ship and you're able to board. The crew member that you beat is laying off to one side, and he suddenly bolts up, leans over the side of the railing, pukes up his guts, and then falls back to the deck unconscious. And
Well, that'll feed something.
Should we go get our money from him to pay you back, Capissa?
Pay back?
Pay you back. He was supposed to buy the drinks.
He did lose the contest. That is true.
I think if he should be the one to pay you. I merely provided the necessary boon to prevent your bones from being shattered. As a result, he should be the one to pay you.
Hey, I'll get money from him. So I'll walk over to him while he's unconscious and start rifling through his pockets for 7 silver pieces.
He only has 2 silver pieces and 3 coppers.
I'll take them, and I'll take them back over to Capissa, and I'll be like, here, this is part of the payment. That's all he had.
Floatwinder, perhaps we should take the coin when he is alert.
Oh,
and
he didn't
air it.
object.
True, however, he is due punishment in this case, after all, skirting out on an establishment after making a promise and oath. Not very seemly. We should bring this issue up in the morrow.
Right. It was just easier this way, though.
Can I try like a medicine check or something to make sure the guy's all right?
Sure.
Think, do I do the medicine check? I guess I just, whoop. There we go.
Can't really tell, but you suppose that he's just extremely drunk and will be very, very hungover in the morning.
Just roll him over on his stomach. He'll make it.
At least he's probably not dead. Probably.
Not dead yet, at least.
Just
Is he one of the
was.
crew? Is
Yes,
he one of the crew?
He is.
Excellent.
Yep. So, Batten, as you see this, you were there still doing your fishing and saw them dragging him up the gangplank onto the ship. And you've kind of been watching him alternate between periods of unconsciousness and being sick for the past couple of hours.
Can I use one charge from my healer's kit to stabilize him?
Sure. Give me a medicine check.
It does it automatically, I think.
So
As an action, you can expend one use of the kit to stabilize a creature that has 0 hit points.
right, he doesn't have 0 hit points. He's
just
sick from drinking too much.
Okay, so. Oop.
Yep, you managed to get a few herbs, mix them in some water, and get it down his throat, and that kind of seems to ease his suffering a bit. And after you've done that, the priestess that was on board comes over to you and says, "That was very, very kind of you."
All part of the job, really.
And you are?
Vatan. I would have said hello earlier, but you're in the middle of a prayer.
Ah, yes. I tend to make my prayers at the same time every evening. And I understand that you're with the Order of the Gauntlet, right?
Yep, I am indeed a member of the Order
Okay.
of the Gauntlet.
She says, "I understand that you as well are a member of the Order of the Gauntlet. It is good to have a fellow brother along for the journey."
It is good to see so many people of the faith here on this ship.
Do you know anything about this object that has appeared?
No, I'm afraid I don't.
What's your
Yourself?
impression of our captain?
Can I make like an insight check?
For
Like having gotten a idea of the captain from having met
sure.
her.
Yep. She seems like a hardened sailor, no nonsense, doesn't mince words, just very direct, straightforward type person, very capable.
She seems down to earth and very professional.
Well, that's good. I'm afraid I'm not much of a sea hand myself.
Don't worry about it. Plenty on board that can take care of the sea work.
I just hope I don't get too sick. I've never been at sea before.
Nothing to it.
Well, I believe I will turn in for the evening. Good evening to you.
And to yourself. And I will also turn in.
All right. What do the rest of you wish to do?
Well, if it's not too late, I will play my instruments somewhat on the bridge.
All right. What instrument?
Bagpipes.
All right.
I was going to say, I'll sit next to him, but I'm going to sit on the other side of the deck. And I'm going to sit and do some whittling, some carving.
Right, I think it's a performance check, right?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, so you're playing the bagpipes, and people actually start gathering around to hear you play.
People love Danny Boy.
Yep. As you're playing, Quara Alessandar pulls out a wooden flute out of his coat and begins to play along with you. And before you know it, there's a small gathering of celebrants. Even the captain has come over and is sitting, tapping her foot as you play, and people are passing around a jug of rum, and the festivities have moved from the tavern to the deck of the ship. Although with the captain present, everyone is keeping it well within acceptable levels.
That's the power of my pipes.
All right. Anybody else have anything they wish to do for the evening?
Early to sleep chamber, early to riseth. So,
All right.
Capissa goes to bed.
Capissa turns in.
I'll wait a little bit, and then I'll probably turn in not long after Capissa.
All right.
We'll have drinks and then go.
All right. Braun.
I'm not very good at playing, but I've got my pan flute out, and I've been trying to catch some of the tunes.
All right.
As the night wears on, I'll go ahead and head towards the below decks to the cabins.
All right. As the night wears on, gradually everyone begins to slowly trickle down to the cabins and turn in, ready to get down to serious business in the morning. The next morning, you awaken early. Still a few hours left to go before you set sail. So if anyone wishes to enter the town and buy goods or make any preparations for leaving, now would be the time.
Vatan will spend an hour in the morning sharpening his swords aboard the ship. That'll be it.
All right. Anybody else have anything they want to do in the morning? Any last minute purchases?
Yes, I'm gonna go in and purchase purchase some type of seasickness remedies,
All right.
since I know a lot of people are getting seasick.
All right. You managed to pick up a couple of bottles of from the apothecaries, something that they've whipped up to deal with seasickness. Since it is a port town, that's kind of common, and charges you a silver apiece for those.
Okay.
And basically what those will do is if you have to make a saving throw versus seasickness, they give you advantage.
Okay.
All right. So after you all have had your breakfast, gotten into town, and made any purchases you wished, the Voyage gets ready to sail. The crew of the Voyage gather their final supplies and wish farewell to onlookers before huddling onto small rowboats and heading out toward the Voyage. The splash of oars sends crescent ripples out into the harbor. After a few long minutes, you arrive at the majestic Voyage and clamber up her sides. The anchor is hoisted and sails unfurled. The canvas catches the trade winds and the ship slowly pulls away. You kind of watch the townsfolk have been anticipating this journey, and there are quite a few huddled together on the docks watching as you guys unfurl the sails and head out into the sea. You barely have time to begin getting your wits about you and learning the rhythm of the ship and her crew as you're sailing along. And the morning is a little bit overcast and foggy on the sea. And I need perception checks.
From everyone?
Yes, everyone can give me a perception check.
Oof.
Someone's not hungover.
Yep, so everyone that beat 12 or higher sees cutting through the waves a sleek ship whose hull has been painted red. It quickly becomes clear that the vessel is headed on an interception course with your own. As it gets closer, you notice a black flag supporting a triangular red symbol flying from the top of the mast. The captain points to several members of the crew and says, "Get below and mend the oars. Give her all the sails."
Does the crew look frantic or
Yes.
energized? Okay.
Yeah, half the crew looks kind of terrified. Looks like there are a few green sailors on this voyage. So not too experienced and haven't ever encountered pirates before, so they appear a little bit panicked.
How far away is the pirate ship?
It is still a few hundred yards away.
When I do eventually notice what's going on, I'll draw my sword.
Well, as when the captain begins yelling and you look around, you finally see this ship out there. What would you guys like to do?
The sailors come to maketh combat.
First thing I'll do is cast Blessing on the Forge upon my arm.
Okay, you're classing Blessing of the Forge on your armor. Got it.
Yes.
This affixes a shield. Gets his weapon ready.
All right.
I would like to see what I can do to help the sailors in the time before the ship comes to us.
All right. Yep. So the captain is directing the crew to try and avoid the confrontation and outrun the ship. She's telling them to turn the ship and unfurl all the sails and turn to catch the wind and manning the oars. Anything in particular you would like to do to help?
Baxian is running around just following orders to the T. And like if he sees anybody just standing around, he goes up, shakes them like the captain said we gotta do this, and just anybody that's just standing around, he tries to get them to come help.
All right.
And
so you are amongst the crew that is sent down to row the ship, and you manage some people standing there not looking like they know what they're doing. You get them situated, and you can give me a athletics check to help row the ship. All right, yeah, you're straining, doing your best, trying to row in. Torg, what are you doing?
I would like to try to help them unfurl the sails.
All right, so you can also give me a dexterity saving throw to help them wrangle the sails into a new position.
Okay, dexterity save is there.
Yep, you scamper up the mast and you're moving ropes and launch yourself around the mast, swinging from the rope down to the deck, and you guys are able to turn the sails to catch more wind, and you can feel the ship lurch ahead, gaining speed. Bron, what are you doing?
I'm going to go towards the rear of the ship to where I'll be as closest to whenever the pirate ship comes up, and I'm going to be readying a guiding bolt spell to try to hit the masts.
Yeah, so the ship that's coming up is coming in from the side. The captain's ordered the crew to turn and try to catch the wind, but that hasn't happened yet. It's still on a collision course to ram the side of the Voyage.
That's what I'll be at the side.
Okay. And remember, your guiding bolt will do nothing to the masts of the ship.
Will not do anything to the mast.
Right. Were you not here when I talked about magic affecting ships?
Yeah.
Yeah, magic will not affect the ship directly. You can't fireball the ship, you can't guiding bolt the masts, or warp wood the planks.
I'll get ready to guiding bolt the whoever's manning the wheel to steer the ship.
All right, that sounds good. Yep. As the ship grows closer, you see that the prow of the blood-red ship is tipped with a vicious iron rim. As the blade slices through the water toward you, you notice two prominent figures standing at the helm. The first is a lumbering ogre who is missing one arm. Forged onto the stump of the missing limb is a huge anchor, which the creature uses to steer the ship. Standing just behind the beast is an ashen-skinned tiefling with eyes glowing like embers, wearing a tricorn hat. He plants his goat-like legs firmly on the deck and raises a strange metal tube toward the Voyage, and with a tremendous blasting sound, the tube seems to explode in a ball of smoke, and one of the sailors on the deck of the Voyage goes down in a splatter of blood.
I would like to.
Yep, go ahead.
I'd like to rush to the guy who just got shot down, and if I'm still able to save him, use a healer's kit to stabilize him.
As you get to him, you're able to tell that he is no longer alive.
Big old hole through his chest, like.
Yep. Yeah, there appears to be a small hole in the front of his chest and just this massive hole in the back from whatever it
devilry is
was
this?
that tiefling did. Zenareth, what are you doing?
I'm asking the captain where the captain needs me to go. I don't know anything about.
So
I don't know anything about
she
sailing
says,
ships.
get to the side
following
and
orders.
let the helm know the trajectory of the pirate ship. And so you can give me a perception check to do that and to relay the information to the helm. Yep, as you're telling them every little turn and weave of the pirate ship, the helmsman is able to spin the wheel and the ship begins slowly turning away from the incoming pirate ship. Kapissa, what would you like to do?
So it's pretty plain that the pirate ship is faster than the ship we're currently on.
No, that is not plain. It's not been very long whatsoever. And it was coming broadside, and the captain's trying to get your ship prepared to turn and run. But that hasn't happened yet.
So, how fast are these ships going in relationship to, say, like, feet per turn? As a lad who has lived his life in the ocean, does he think he's faster than these ships in their sailing spurts?
You are definitely faster than these ships.
Okay. So what Kapissa is going to do is he is going to hold out a weapon he reveals to be a hand axe, and he will dip into the water. He'll leap off the side as if he were abandoning ship, but he's going on a stealth mission to cause some problems for these pirates.
All right.
Xanareth just kind of looks and shakes his head like, God.
Yeah, you hear several of the crewmen and muttering under their breath, "Coward."
I think it's more of a, here he's going off on his glory adventure sort of thing.
Yeah, the other sailors definitely appear to believe that he
He's
is
abandoned.
panicking and abandoning them and has taken off. All right, so Baxian, you're continuing to row the oars, and I will need another athletics check from you.
All right. I'm getting worn out. Too much drinking last
You're
night.
tired, and it looks like the rest of the crew had a little too much to drink as well. The sailor that was passed out, he's over there and looks like he's about to heave his guts up and just not making much hair. Everybody's out of sync with the oars, and looks like you're doing more to hinder the ship than to help it. Torg, what are you continuing to do?
Are all of the sails out?
Yep, the sails are out.
Right. Let's see, are they in distance of something like vicious mockery, or are they way too far away to hear me yell about?
Yeah, they're not going to hear you over the blowing of the wind and the roaring of the waves and all of that.
All right.
What sort of distance is it?
That's just 6
Probably
feet,
a
so-
few hundred feet now.
Okay, that's yeah. Let's see, I don't know who's next, but I'll give them bardic inspiration, I guess, to who I have to be around them, don't I?
Correct. If you would like, you can just give me a performance check to inspire the crew. And just...
Oh no, the bagpipes are gonna go bad this time. I just know it. No, I'm kidding. I'm not using the bagpipes for this, but
No, that is fine. Yeah. So the crew redoubles their efforts, and with the bagpipes giving kind of a rhythm for them to get into, the rowers, you notice, Baxian finally get into sync, and the ship manages to get turned and begins leaving the pirate ship behind. Bron, anything you wish to do? It now looks like the captain has managed to get the ship turned away, and it looks like you might be able to outrun the pirates after all.
Since they're gonna, looks like they may outrun them.
Correct.
I'll go ahead and get my light crossbow out just in case,
All right.
and now that we've turned, I'll keep walking down the side of the ship and trying to maintain the closest distance between the two.
All right. So, no, Zenareth, what are you
Yes.
going to do?
Right now, it seems like what I'm doing is helping. So I'm casting message to tell this guy where he's going, and
Right.
just for effect, I might use thaumaturgy to create a rumble of thunder, like try and
Excellent.
make the ship seem a little bit more ominous, like don't mess with us. But
All
I
right.
don't think that's going to do much.
All right. Capissa,
Mhm.
you're still swimming toward the pirate ship when you see the Voyage get turned and begin pulling away.
I see. 3 questions in this case. First, does Capissa, now that he's underwater, see any stragglers beneath the pirate ship? Any defenders? Like,
No.
okay.
Yeah, not
Second.
under the ship.
Yeah. Second, does he see the enemy's rudder?
Sure.
To his martial talents, and third and final question here, does it look like there is, say, a rope system that is controlling this rudder that would be oh so tragically cut by a hand axe?
You can give me an athletics check to try and disable their rudder system.
Sure, I'd be happy to do that. Oh, no, didn't mean to do that. I wanted to roll it. That is an oof.
Yeah. Yeah, you chop away at some cables and stuff, and you're not sure that you got the rudder cables, and it doesn't seem to have slowed the ship down any at all.
Mm-hmm. He'll try again his next chance, but I assume that is the turn order here, even though we don't technically have initiative up.
Right. Yep. So when it looks like the Voyage is going to pull away, the pirate ship begins to bank off and appears as if it's going to go in search of easier prey.
Xanareth will
Yep.
celebrate, for lack of
Yep. The
better
whole
way of
crew
explaining.
begins to cheer. The captain appears, her shoulders were all tense, and she appears to relax a bit.
Vatan will run over to the side of the ship, scan the water, and cry, what's his name?
Kapissa.
Kapissa?
Yeah.
And cry Kapissa into the water.
Is there anyone else who's injured besides that one guy who got blown away?
Nope, that was the only one. Kapissa, when the ship begins to turn away, are you going to leave it or ride with the pirate ship?
He definitely feels like, oh, the danger has passed. However, he's not just going to let this assailant get away unscathed. So he will attempt, assuming it's on the underside of, say, like a minute, attempt to cut through the rudder rigging, roping, whatever it happens to be.
All right.
And if he can, that's great. He'll leave. But if he can't, he'll say, screw it, and go back to the ship.
So, give me an intelligence saving throw.
Saving throw. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
you can make it a saving throw just in case you have any bonuses.
I do not as a fighter.
So I didn't know if you were proficient or not. So
that is a flat 16.
So you realize that at the speeds they're traveling in this foggy day, you're going to have to find your ship if you delay much longer.
I see. In that case, he will cut his losses and start swimming back.
All right. Yeah, you begin swimming, and it's quite a hard swim. You definitely are still faster than the two warships, but not so much faster that it's an easy swim to catch up by any means. But you are able to finally catch back up with the Voyage.
I'll help him back onto the ship.
All right, you toss a rope over and help haul him in. Several of the other sailors are giving you kind of the evil eye.
What is it?
They just turn away from you. You do hear someone mutter, "Coward," under his breath.
Anon, see it here. All right? I attempted to cut through their rudder. Given enough time, the damage I did inflict might make further attacks of theirs inadequate. But do not call me coward unless you wish to prove it at the end of your weapon.
The man that you're talking to, kind of backs away, a little shaken. And returns to his duties.
Xanareth, when he seems to be relieved of what he's doing, is going to walk over to the captain and congratulate the captain. Take a deep breath and walk over to Kapissa and say, sometimes heroes get people killed. And he's going to just very casually walk over to where he was before and resume his book or whatever.
All right.
gonna walk over to Zenareth and pat him on the shoulder and say, "Very good job, but helping to guide the ship away from the pirate ship. I noticed that was very good."
Yeah, the captain will come over, and as she's given orders to the crew and having them now start tightening down the ropes and battening the hatches and all of that, she will come over to both Torg and Xanareth and says, a job well done.
It was my pleasure. I don't know much about sailing, but I know how to take orders.
Yeah, I think I did very well, if I do say so myself.
He says, aye, that you did, that you did.
I don't know if it was, but it was awesome to listen to.
I think all of you did a fine job too, and yeah.
And with that, everyone will level up to level 2. And also at this time, we will take our 10-minute break.
All right, sounds good.
Pisa, are you there? Okay.
Your mic is currently muted if you can hear us.
Okay, so maybe he isn't back yet. Yeah, but he can join us as we're going. Yeah, we've been about 10 minutes on break, so need to get started here. So the ship continues on its voyage throughout the remainder of the day. That evening, the captain sets the watch throughout the night and furls the sails and lowers the anchor for the evening. And is there anything anyone wants to do during the evening besides just get your sleep in?
Probably get a prayer in.
All right.
Oh.
On that note, so Xanareth and Torg,
Yeah, I would. I guess I would like to check to see if there's anything weird going on around the ship.
yeah, nothing. Like I said, the captain sets guards, keeping watch, and nobody's brought any alerts. But for Xanareth and Torg, before you turn into the evening, Chandri, the priestess, will come to each of you and ask, your deeds today saved many lives, and would you like me to offer a prayer to Helm for you?
If you would like, it doesn't make a difference to me. But thank you for the offer.
I don't think
Very
I would
well.
turn it down.
All right. So Xanareth, she will offer up a short prayer for you, and you receive the blessing of Helm, and you can add a d6 to any one roll for the following day.
Awesome. All right.
All right. Capisa, you back yet? All right. So
Wrestling with
What's that?
I said wrestling with the cat, perhaps.
Yeah, probably. All right.
No.
So you begin sailing the next day. They weigh anchor, unfurl the sails, and it is a much clearer, nicer day than the day before. The sun is out and shining. A salty breeze is blowing across the decks. The sea is relatively mild, and you're making good time. About midday, you're passing near a small island in the distance, and you are suddenly begin to hear music playing, the sound of a woman singing in the distance, and we will say, Vaten, give me a wisdom saving throw. Yeah, so you almost can feel as if this song is calling you out into the deep. And take a couple of steps toward the railing and then shake your head and manage to throw off that feeling.
Is it something obvious that like I would realize that there's some sort of effect going on here?
You definitely realize it was the song that you are hearing.
I shout out, "Be careful, everyone! There's evil magic in the air."
Xanareth is going to try and cover his ears
All right.
and then send a message to Vatan and say what happened.
All right. Well, first we'll go to Vatan in the initiative order. So, what would you like to do? Immediately after you've yelled this out, that there's evil afoot.
I'll put my hands over my ears and look around to see how other people are what other people are doing.
All right. Torg, what are you doing?
Is it possible for me to outplay this song?
Give me a performance check.
Big money, no whammies. Yeah.
Yeah, you begin to play your bagpipe and hope that it will have an effect in helping them resist this evil allure. Bax?
Yeah, so Baxian puts his hands up over his head to cover his ear holes, and he looks around and he's like, "But how do we hear the captain's orders? I don't what I don't know. I don't know if this is the right course of action."
Yeah. So Xanareth.
Yes. So actually, is the captain on deck or
Yes, and
aware of
she's
this?
ordering lookouts and yelling up to the man in the crow's nest to see if there is anything that he sees, and he reports, "I see nothing, Captain."
All right. Well, so I'm going to cover my ears and I'll actually send a message to the captain and say, I can relay messages if you need me to.
Okay, so you cast message.
Since theoretically, I think they don't need to hear me for that.
Braun.
Okay, I'm going to also cover my ears. I'm going to look around for maybe a piece of clothing or something like that that I can rip off and make like earplugs. So I'll also have my hands free.
All right.
Smart move. Oh, actually.
Yep. So Torg, as you are playing your bagpipes, trying to enable everybody to resist uh, this evil allure. It is going to turn its attention to you and attempt to lure you into the water. And you feel, this song calling to you, and your hands kind of stumble a bit on the notes of your bagpipe before you shake your head a couple of times and pick up the tune and start playing even harder. And Kapissa.
So now that word has sort of gotten around about the singing, you know what I mean?
Correct.
Capissa is going to look around for the source of the enchanting tune, if
All right.
possible.
Give me a perception check.
Oh boy, I'm so good at those. There we go. Nope, that's performance. I want perception. It didn't.
You have
Put
to
it up.
roll it in the chat box. Don't forget.
Crud. I think I was just off of it. Oof.
Yeah, you're looking down into the water as it slides past, and you do not see anything.
That's all I really can do, assuming that's my action.
Yes.
That's all I got. For now, at least.
All right. Vatten.
Looking around and seeing everyone is now shielding their ears or doing whatever, playing the pipes. I shall also try to look around and locate where the source of the music's coming from.
All right. Give me a perception check. So you see a large, vaguely humanoid shape off to the stern of the ship.
Then I will cry out, "Creature, off to the stern!"
All right.
And then head off in that direction to get closer.
Okay, you head over to the railing of the ship. Torg.
How far away is that creature?
It is about 100 feet away.
See, I move about 30, so I'll start heading towards it.
It is out in the water. It's 100 feet
okay.
away from the ship. Let me put that.
Okay.
Right.
I don't think there's a lot I can do to it then. I am just going to keep doing what I'm doing.
All right, then give me another performance check.
Right. What? Cord only with... Thought I did that. Wait, that was perception. It says only record which you can... What's that? Only records which you own can be shared? Oh, is it... Am I looking at the wrong thing?
So you should go to skills.
Yeah, I'm on skills, but...
And
I did wrong. I grabbed the wrong part of it.
Yep, there you go. All right. Yep, so you begin playing your pipes with even more gusto. Bax?
Yeah, so Bax is pulling down on his bandana on his head and poking it into his ear holes, and just trying to help out with whatever orders the captain's barking.
All right. Yeah, she's just got the crew once again rowing and unfurling sails and trying to turn away from whatever this threat is.
Yeah, so I'll help with the sails.
Yeah. All right, Xanareth?
I am ripping off a piece of the bottom of my shirt to cover my ears with, so I can have my hands free, so I can cast spells.
Right.
Other than that, I would probably conjure an unseen servant to help out on the deck.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, so you conjure an unseen servant, and you're giving it orders as the captain gives orders to you, and it's tying off ropes and helping tighten up the sails and all of that.
Alrighty.
Ron.
I'm going to rush over to the side of the ship next to the rail, and I'm going to see if I can cast guiding bolts upon this
Yep.
one
you
that's singing.
Yep. Certainly
That's
can. So
120 feet.
120 feet.
So I should be able to hit it.
yep. So go ahead and cast your guiding bolt. You are now targeting the creature. That is a hit.
Nice. Well, you didn't like that.
Hopefully that'll cause her to maybe change her tune.
Anything else? Because that's a bonus action for guiding bolt.
No, guiding bolts in action.
Oh, is it?
Yes,
Okay.
guiding bolts in action. That should be that'll be it.
All right. All right. So it will turn its attention to you, who just blasted it with that bolt of energy. And it will try to lure you into the water. You will get advantage on this. Because of Torg's playing, you get advantage. Roll advantage. Yep, so you actually succeeded. Yep, you feel this song begin to lure you and almost even raise a foot to step over the railing. When a particularly loud rendition of the bagpipes kind of drowns out the music for a second, and you regain your footing. Kapissa.
So, Kapissa obviously had a hard time locating this creature, but upon Vatten and then the blinding guiding bolt damage.
Right. You clearly see where it is at now.
Does he know what this thing is, being a fishy lad of the sea?
Nature check with advantage.
Nature. An 18?
Yes, as a matter of fact, you do know that this is a Kelpie. They are a shape-changing sea creature that normally looks like just a chunk of seaweed, but they can change into the form of beasts and humans. And their song is used to lure creatures into the sea, where they then drown them and feed on them.
An evil charm? It is. A Kelpie, be careful. Shape changer. Form shifter. Know that going near it will result in certain doom. That's really... It was his action to discern that, right?
No, it was not an action to do that.
Okay, so he'll say
you
that
just
out
saw
loud.
it, and when you saw it, you recognized what that is. So you can still take your movement and your actions.
Okay, so it's 100 feet away.
Correct.
It's getting to it hard for me. So what he's going to do is he's going to play support here, and I'm assuming that the party is in rough proximity to each other. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so Capissa, upon realizing that being drawn into the sea isn't as much of an issue for himself as it is for everyone else, he will hold his action. The trigger being for this readied action is if someone looks like they're getting a bit too captivated and are about to walk the plank, he will attempt to grapple them and stop them from
Yep.
falling
Sounds
into
good.
the sea.
I've readied that action. Vatten.
I will get advantage if I would like to also do a guiding bolt.
Okay.
I'll get advantage, won't I? Because it's like now
Right.
glowing brightly.
Yep.
So click that.
It should be granting advantage.
Oh, if I hit it.
Yep, that is a miss. Let me first target
Oh,
the
I didn't
Kelpie
do
for you.
it. Sorry, I didn't do advantage.
Yep. So that is going to be a hit, but give me just a second. So now you're targeting the Kelpie, so now you can go ahead and roll your guiding bolt damage, and it should automatically apply that. Yep. So you blast into the Kelpie with the guiding bolt.
So
Anything
it's
else?
still glowing brightly.
Yep.
No, that's my go.
All right. Torg.
I'm just gonna keep doing what I've been doing because I think that helps people.
Uh,
As long as I,
yep. Go ahead and give me another perform check.
as long as I do it well enough that I've been doing it, and I'm just great at this. Really.
Yep. So
Crescendo.
he begins playing the bagpipes, and you guys actually can't hear the singing any longer over the sound of the bagpipes.
That's
Bax.
some damn fine pipe in there.
After seeing several other people throwing attacks over the edge of the railing, Bax pulls out his short bow and runs over and fires an arrow off.
All right.
Will this be at this range? This be at disadvantage?
Yes.
Okay.
But with the advantage for it glowing, it'll cancel out.
Right. That's true.
So straight roll.
Yep. Straight
Okay.
roll.
Wait. Okay, you got me targeted.
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
I've got you targeted. So that is
Oh,
a
I don't
hit
know why it rolled 2.
because it had advantage. Oh no, it didn't.
Because of the guiding bolt grants advantage to the next.
Oh, should I have
Oh,
clicked disadvantage
Right.
on
You
that
should
then?
have clicked disadvantage because yep.
Okay, you
So
mean do
the
it again?
7 was actually yeah. Go
Oh,
ahead and
okay.
make another roll because don't know which of those it would have been. Yeah. So you fire out there and your arrow just splashes into the water.
Okay.
Zanirith.
I am going to, seeing as everything seems to be doing okay here, try to hit it with a firebolt.
All right. You do. What is the range on a firebolt?
120.
Okay. Yep. Yep. So you managed to hit it with your firebolt. A little puff of steam whisks off of its fishy skin.
Hit it.
Anything else?
No, I think that's going to be it.
All right, Braun.
I'm going to go ahead and try the guiding bolt one more.
That is a hit. Anything else?
That's it.
All right. So after that, you're sitting there watching your bolt hits it, and suddenly you see the glow begin to fade as it dives beneath the waves, and you lose sight within the water. And you can, of course, because of the bagpipes, you no longer hear the singing. Capissa.
He definitely sees it dive beneath the waves, and
Right.
as a result, he'll give like a hearty, huzzah!
All right.
Sooth. Fine warriors, all of you.
Vatten.
I will hold a guiding bolt just in case it resurfaces.
Okay. After several minutes, it doesn't. It looks like you guys have driven it off.
Marvelous.
Yep. And the priestess comes around and is offering, is anyone harmed? Does anyone need healing? But it looks like everyone in the crew has avoided taking any damage.
Damn fine job, one and all.
Yeah, the captain gathers you around and, well, it looks like hiring you was the right decision. Once again, we owe you our lives.
Think not of it.
Certainly. Thanks for the
that?
ride.
What did Capissa say?
Just think not of it.
Oh, think not of it. Got it. All right. The ship continues on through the day, and a couple more days go by without anything but normal sailing. The third day out, though, the winds die, and the ship is forced to resort to manning the oars to make any movement at all. Anyone who is assisting with the rowing will need to give me a strength and athletics check.
I will help.
Capissa will assist as well.
Boy, that guy can really row.
Yeah.
Athletics. Oh, yep.
See, I'm probably the worst at it actually, but well, I still try.
All right, but three of you succeeded. So, with your help rowing and helping the spirits of the crew, the ship is actually able to make normal time that day, despite of the calm that it is drifting through. That evening, because of that, everybody is exhausted from rowing for a day. And so the captain brings out the rum barrel and offers everybody a mug with their meal. And she asks Torg if he would not mind providing some cheerful music for the evening.
Well, let's see if it's cheerful.
Well, of course it is. It's Torg Rao, famed bard. So the crew's spirits are lifted. Seem a few of them even manage to gather up the energy to dance a little jig. And anything anybody wants to do for the evening.
I'm just working on my whittling on the top deck.
Okay. So what are you
Staring
whittling
at the
in
sea.
particular?
It's more of like a mindless whittling.
Okay.
It just kind of just a habit more than
Okay.
anything.
I would like Vatan to do some fishing.
All right.
Off
Give
the
me
side
a
of it.
survival check.
Oh, I was about to say so.
What's that?
The second Vatten would have set up the fishing line, Capissa would have gone. You know, there's an easier way to accomplish this.
How's that?
No? What kind of fish have you captured in your tenure with this rod?
Vatan would know, but I do not. So
Right. You have mainly had success, more inland fishing for trout and bass, but you've caught some sea bass and a few other things. But especially out now, like you're out in deep water, it is much more difficult to catch anything because you really need to have a much bigger rod and reel than you're willing to lug around to do fishing out here.
okay, well, I'll convey some of that.
Mm-hmm.
All I've got is me river rod. What did you have in mind? Like,
Well, naturally, I would merely throw my trident at them, a bit more precise than hoping they wander closer to the bait. Yet,
Yeah, and
in this
as you
particular case,
are talking, a small fish takes your bait, batten, and you're able to reel in um, just like one of the small fish that you see in all these large schools swimming around.
I'll take what I can get, and I shall smoke me a kipper. Though if he does start throwing that trident, I'd be very interested to watch.
Capissa will actually shake his head and go, "No, no, throwing a fish is a bit easier for me. I was merely proposing thy efforts be aided by my talents. Should you wish.
I mean, I'll take it if he gets me another roll.
All right,
Sure.
yeah, you can go ahead and roll again with advantage.
He's
Uh,
basically using his fish speech to go like, "Hey, fish, who can hear me?"
Yeah, okay, so you're actually luring them in. Hey, look, food. Yeah, so
the fish will never trust you again.
yeah, so a large sturgeon comes and latches on, and you're sitting here with this little river pole, and now you've got this monstrously huge fish that's nearly as long as a man that you're trying to pull in with this thing. And I'll need an athletics check.
I assist him in that too.
Okay, yeah, you give him the help action so you can roll with advantage.
I was going to say he'd probably get pulled over if he wasn't helped. So
Yep.
Hey,
Yeah, so between the two of you, grabbing the line and, trying to get it in, and you're afraid, oh, this rod's going to break any minute now, but you guys managed to wrestle this thing onto the ship, and the whole crew is now laughing and cheering and never seen anything like this in their lives. That with this little dinky pole, you caught this humongous fish.
Awesome.
And the captain calls
Good
down
job.
to the galley and has the cook come up and take the fish, and she says, "We're going to eat well tonight."
Excellent.
Anything else anybody else wants to do? All right. So the next day, the sailing continues on. you're about halfway through your journey on the way to the island. The Braun, you're the one that purchased the seasick medicine, correct?
That's correct.
Yep. The next day, the waves are choppy and the boat is rocking quite heavily, and you notice that Store, the savage-looking gentleman from the island, the king's representative, is looking very green. He's been leaning over the railing all day, puking his guts up.
And I will take the seasick medicine up to him and tell him I believe this will help you. Just try it out.
He looks a little suspiciously at it, but he says, if it's poison and gonna kill me, that's preferable to this foul rocking of the boat. And he gulps down the whole bottle. And after, 20, 30 minutes after it's had time to kick in, he's looking much better, still a little pale, and comes over and claps you on the shoulder, Braun, and says, if there is ever anything that I can do for you, you have only to ask.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. I just I can't abide seeing anyone sick. It's just something that I have to take care of. But I appreciate the offer.
He says, well, maybe now I can get some rest. And he'll make his way down into the cabins to try and rest now that he's not feeling so ill. Another day passes. You don't see too much out on the water, just endless sea going by. Anything anyone wants to do during the day? Any interactions with any of the crew?
Xanaroth will probably do two things. He will probably check with the captain to see if they're going to see anything at all on this trip, or if it's just going to be water everywhere. And then he will probably check in with Kapissa.
All right. So the captain says, we can only hope that all we see is water until we arrive at the Isles. There are many pirates and other dangers that ply these waters, and I'm trying to avoid any of the smaller islands where they normally hole up. So I hope you're right and that we will see nothing.
Fair enough. No, like fancy rock formations or anything.
I hope not. Maybe. There is. After we had to avoid that pirate ship the first day, we were somewhat off course, and I'm hoping there is nothing like that is uncharted out here. It would be truly misfortunate if we were to run aground on some rock formation or island that I was unaware of.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, no, I don't want anything. I was just looking for something to pass the time. That's it.
I would like to observe the crew and see if they're see if they can teach me anything about the ways that they tie all of the knots and I don't know, do seafaring.
Sure, yeah, they are. If you take an interest in their profession, they are more than happy to show you a few things. And as you're, talking to them and taking an interest in their stuff, they're constantly singing off-colored sea shanties and telling ribald jokes. And as the day passes and you're even become able to kind of give them a hand and participate in some of their work, and they begin to kind of treat you just like one of them. Baxian, are you doing anything during the day?
If I see Torg, you know, hanging around with the sailors and stuff, I wanna help him learn some, knots and things like that.
Yep. Yeah, you've had so many years at sea, you just fit right in. This just all seems normal to you. A couple of the other sailors you have sailed with before. The individual that lost the drinking contest to you that first night, he has avoided you for the entire voyage. Seems a little bit ashamed that he lost that contest.
All right. If I pass by him, I want to just walk up to him and chat him up if it ever
Right.
are passing each other.
Yeah. So the third day, the fifth day, uh, the waters become even more choppy. The sky has become dark and threatening, and there's lightning flashing. The captain, because of the high winds, have ordered the sails to half mast so that the ship isn't driven and snaps the mast. And they're desperately trying to keep the ship on course. And so, what are you guys going to do to assist the ship?
Well, I guess I've been working with the crew all day, so I'll just be crewing it up with them.
All right, give me a acrobatics check as you're once again helping with the sails and running across the slippery deck and trying to help. You're doing your best to help them, but being not that familiar with sailing, you're not as helpful as you would hope to be. Bax, what are you doing?
Yeah. So I'm gonna go up in like the crow's nest and and help up in that area, and I'm gonna take a rope and tie around my waist and like tie it off to like one of the
All right.
rings up
All right.
up in that area.
Yep. So you're up in the crow's nest and you're trying to give them directions to avoid larger waves and things like that. So perception check.
All right.
All right. Braun, what are you doing?
I'm going to be probably down in the cabins, hanging on for dear life.
Okay.
Uh,
All right.
I would hate to get swept overboard because towards water don't necessarily mix that well.
All right. And I will also need a constitution saving throw from everyone. Those who are familiar and have lived a life on the sea, you may have advantage.
How do you turn on advantage again?
Just click the
below
ADV button down at the bottom.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Org's a fail. Vatten is a fail. So Torg, Xanareth, and Vatten, the ship is just rocking violently back and forth, and you all are extremely seasick. Any ability checks you make are going to be at disadvantage. All right, so Xanareth, what are you doing?
So I was going to same thing with the unseen servant for whatever
Okay.
I can think And then I was going to cast Dancing Lights, which is a concentration spell. So I imagine the lights are just kind of flickering on and off as I get sick.
Right. Yeah. All right. Kapissa.
So, Kapissa, he's like, oh, it's a storm, whatever. But then he's like, all right, people have to, like, not have their boat sink. And so he'll present himself quite plainly to the captain and just go, Captain, whatever sail needs tugging, direct me to it.
She will point you to some ropes to tie down. So give me a athletics check as you're straining to pull the sails tight against this huge wind.
It's an 18.
Yep. So you finish tying that one off, run back. She sends you out to help with another one. She has you lashing down some hatches with oiled canvas so that the water can't overrun the ship and get in. Vatten.
Is the crow's nest big enough for more than one?
It is.
Then I should go up and give Baxian some company.
All right. You'll need to make an acrobatics check to climb up to the crow's nest. As it swings back and forth, and rain and water are lashing against you. You're sitting there, and just a wave of dizziness and sickness as you begin to try to climb up, and you have to stop for a minute and catch your breath.
Saying that this is a good idea, can I attempt to try and help someone else, Kapasa?
Well, you spent your action there trying to climb up. So back to you, Bax. You're just having a really hard time seeing anything through the torrential wind and rain.
Yeah, I'm still just trying to help them, catch the waves and,
All right, then
and miss them and stuff.
perception
So,
check.
all right.
Yep. So a lot of you fight the storm all day long, and the foresail rips under the force of this violent storm, and finally the captain has to furl all the sails, and just the waves are tossing the ship, and you end up being at the mercy of the storm for the entire day and on into the night. Throughout that night, the captain has everyone lash themselves to the rails of the ship, or anyone that has to be on deck to make sure the boat isn't capsized in the middle of the night. The next day, finally, the storm has subsided. The captain has been on the deck of the ship all night and looks very haggard and worn. And the crew, is worn out, and it's looking pretty bad. The ship is in pretty bad shape, and it looks like there's going to have to be some time spent doing some mending on the sails and the rigging. And the captain looks about and says, I have no idea where we are. I'm not sure how far the storm took us yesterday. And so she's trying to get her bearings and get back on track.
I wouldn't worry, guys. As soon as the stars come out, she can get our course then.
Well, I certainly hope so, because there's nothing I can do about it.
Any metal pieces that have been broken or anything like that, I'm going to take and use my artisan's blessing to try to repair those.
Yep. With your assistance, they're able to get the ship in tip-top shape uh, by midday.
I would
And
also like to help using the mending cantrip.
all right. Yep. So yeah, between the two of you working on that, the repairs and everything on the ship go much faster than they otherwise would have, and you're able to get underway. Um, and I need perception checks from those who are not doing mending or some other task.
Aye, aye.
Oh, is that still with disadvantage?
No, you are no longer sick.
Like my third one.
Let me roll that
Nay
again.
to report.
That was worse than I did with disadvantage.
uh, all right. So, yeah, you guys are repairing the ship, and unfortunately, nobody notices in all the hubbub trying to get this ship repaired. You finally got underway, but a large rocky outcropping, a small island that can barely even be called that. The rocks just barely peak above the water and weren't visible over the waves, and the ship rams into it full force. Everybody needs to give me a dexterity saving throw.
Oh boy.
Right, so Vatten and Zanirith, you as the ship rams full force onto these rocks, are just thrown overboard and launched out into the water.
We've got 19.
What's that?
I think you mean Brian.
Oh, Vatten. Okay, yep, Braun. Sorry, I misread I read the wrong line. Yep, Braun and Zanirith are thrown overboard into the water, as well as several of the other crew members.
Souls
Baxian, what are
overboard.
you doing? Do what?
No, just yelling something.
Okay, Baxian. What do you
I
want
start
to do?
running around, grabbing rope and throwing over. We got men overboard.
All right, so you're gonna throw a rope over and try to haul a sailor in. Give me an athletics check.
All right.
All right, yeah, you haul and pull, and you're able to get a couple of the guys in. Torg.
I want to try to give Capisa bardic inspiration because I think he might be useful here.
All right, go ahead and do that.
Let me just actions, yeah. Capisa. Okay, now I click on that.
And is
I
that
targeted
bardic
him.
inspiration noted anywhere, or do I just have to
No,
roll
it should have been applied. Yeah, it is applied to your sheet. That's still showing up for him.
I don't think there's any place on your sheet though to click
Or,
it.
no, it should show up on the combat tracker, and I'm not seeing it on. Yeah, give me a second, and I will target him
I
with
mean,
that.
it's whatever. Like I'm just asking, but
Yeah,
if
go ahead
if it's
and
not all, roll an extra
yeah,
D6.
it'll show up on the combat tracker under the effects when he applies that. So go ahead and apply that effect again.
Okay.
There we go. All right.
I don't know why it wasn't selected.
All right. So, Braun, you are in the water, so I will need you to give me a athletics check to swim back to the ship. You will need to get 3 successes to do so. So it'll take you 3 rounds at least to.
Okay.
Yeah, you, as a dwarf, you're just not built for swimming, and yeah, you,
Splashing around like a.
yeah, you're sitting there sucking water in as you're trying to swim and get back to the ship. Xanareth, the same thing. Give me a swim check. You're able to kind of make a little bit of headway, making your way back to the ship. Capissa.
So the weather is still terrible. The waves are not too hospitable.
No, the weather's not too bad. There's some chop on the water, but it's definitely not stormy condition.
Okay. In that case, it's easy to see that in addition to the men that's fallen overboard, Capissa can see Bran and
Yeah, you see
sorry,
Bran, his head keeps ducking under the water. It's obvious that he's struggling.
So, assuming I don't know what the layout of the ship is specifically, but is there already like a rope tied up in the event of someone going overboard, or no?
Sure.
Okay, so Capissa will march over to that, use sort of like a 3D object interaction to like hoist up the rope and jump off the side and make a beeline for the sinking dwarf.
All right. Give me you get over to him, and he's struggling, like, people do when they're trying not to drown. So you will need to give me an athletics check to get the rope around him, and as he's panicking, trying to drag in water. But yeah, you kind of, do the whole Coast Guard rescue diver thing and wrap him up and manage to get the rope around him and tie it off.
I like to imagine Capissa's had to do this at least once before.
Right, you'll just never understand these land folk, and all he did was fall into some water. All right.
That's his turn. That's his action and all that.
Yeah. Vatten.
Brian seems to be taken care of, so I head off to the nearest side where Xanareth is. And how far from the ship is he?
Just about 30 feet.
And I will use my shape water cantrip to create a ball-shaped block, like 5-foot block of ice underneath him to sort of act as a buoyancy aid.
Yeah. Remember, anything. Are you creating ice underneath him?
Yeah, I'm freezing like a block, like a ball,
Okay.
5-foot ball
Yeah.
of ice
So
underneath.
if you create ice, that'll buoyance him. But remember, like I said, you don't harden the water or make a wall. It's just water, and things will go through it. But ice is different. So if you want to freeze that 5-foot section, you can give him a flotation device. Good deal.
Yep, that's the idea.
Backs.
Yeah. I'm still throwing the rope over, trying to get more people back.
All right, another athletics check to start hauling people in.
All right.
Unfortunately, some of them are panicking as well, and you're not able to get anybody on board. Borg.
I'm going to try to also do the thing where I'm helping people up and
All right, athletics check.
pulling ropes. But I
Yeah,
did it
unfortunately, you're not the strongest person in the crew, and you're hauling your best, but they're flailing and the waves are, kind of pulling them away, and you're not able to get anybody on board this time. Braun, you are now tied off to a rope, and Vatten is swimming, or Capissa is swimming with the rope in his hands and pulling you back toward the ship. so you don't have to make a roll this time. Zenirith.
Athletics.
Yes, with advantage, because now you have this block of ice underneath you that you're desperately holding on to and just kind of kicking with your legs to get back toward the ship.
Advantage. Jesus.
But unfortunately, the ice is cold and slick, and you slip off to the side, and now you ended up beneath that little block of ice, looking up, and
So, I was going to use thaumaturgy to be like, thank you. So the last half of that is kind of like,
thank you.
Yeah, exactly that.
All right, so Capissa, you're hauling Braun back. He is attached to the rope, but you see Zenirith kind of go under, slip off this block of ice, and drop beneath the water again.
Gotta admit it was.
Capissa, without really bemoaning the situation, just like another soul needs saving, will tap Bran's shoulder and give a hearty sort of slow breathing, gorge not yourself on the ocean. And with that, he'll swim over to where Xanarth is and attempt to aid him back onto the ice.
All right, give me an athletics check to get him back up on the ice.
Yep.
Yep, you just, grab him by his clothing and heft him up and plop him right back down there on top of the ice. Vatten.
Okay, I'll try and do the same thing, but for whoever needs it most. Be one of the crew.
All right. So you give the crew. So both of you guys who are helping people out, Vatten's creating blocks of ice under different crew members, and so you'll have backs. It'll give you advantage on your next check to get somebody on.
Okay.
And it is your turn. So you can roll athletics with advantage.
All right.
And thanks to the block of ice, there's a guy, and there's a couple of times that it gets a little hard, but thankfully he's got this stabilization to keep him from slipping under and not panic too much, and you're able to pull him on board. Torg, another athletics check.
Sure. I'll try just
Yep, you're able to wrestle another person on board, someone who had actually managed to swim a little closer to the ship, and one of the stronger swimmers, you're able to get him on board. Braun, your athletics check with advantage because you've now got a rope to kind of pull yourself along on. And Xanarith.
Right.
The same thing.
All right. I was going to say, that gives me super advantage, right? I've got a person helping me.
Right. So you two are able to swim up and manage to climb up on board the ship, and thanks to the efforts of everyone else, you've accumulated enough successes that you're able to pull the rest of the crew members up on the ship, and thankfully no hands are lost. The ship has sustained an extensive amount of damage, but with Braun and Vatten doing their, or is it Xanarth, whoever has the mending?
It's me.
Yeah, with the two of you assisting in the repairs, it looks like it would normally take an entire day, but it looks like they can get that repaired by sundown and have the ship back underway by the next day. And that takes, the rest of the day for you guys to do. anything you guys want to do in the meantime or that evening?
I'm gonna go talk to the captain and say, yeah, I'm not a big fan of rocks out here.
Who is that?
Xanareth.
Okay, I haven't got
Going,
everybody's voice
yeah,
down yet,
I,
but we'll get there.
yeah. I'm just gonna go talk to the captain and be like, yeah, running into stuff out here kind of sucks.
I'm sure
Aye,
I'm
it
exhausted
does.
from that one guy.
What's
I had to
that?
drag up.
What'd you say,
Saying I'm
Bax?
oh,
It wasn't Bax, it was Torg.
Oh, Torg, what were you saying?
I was saying I'm sure I'm exhausted from that one guy I was trying to call up. So I'm probably just gonna
Yeah,
call it
yeah,
night.
you're a little tired. But that evening you're able to rest and eat well. And because of your efforts at saving the crew, they've come to kind of look at you guys as unofficial leaders, aside from, of course, the captain.
Let's start a meeting.
What's that?
I was just joking. But
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, start a mutiny. Got it. Understood that now. Yeah, you've got everybody's trust, so now rebel, take the ship, become pirates.
The irony.
Scourge of the
Was the
seven
plan all
seas.
along?
Forget this strange object. We're gonna go get booty. All right.
Ron's gonna give us and he's gonna, give us and ask him, is there any way that you might talk to any of your friends beneath the waves to find out how far we are away from that wreck and maybe the direction, so the captain will kind of know where we're at?
I'm sorry for him. My friends, I don't recall seeing any other Tritons beneath the ocean.
I noticed that you did call up a fish or so.
How to explain this? My ability to enunciate to the lesser fish is limited to speaking towards them, entreating them, demanding of them. I am not a fish. I cannot understand them.
Oh, I thought maybe that you were capable of understanding the higher forms, such as the whales or dolphins.
Sadly, no.
Oh, well, you learn something new every day.
Yeah, sadly, emissary of the sea is one way. They can understand me. I can't understand them.
And you tell them to point in a direction.
I guess, but there's going to be a lot of DM overlay here because fish are dumb.
Yes.
Right.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I can
was
picture
just
them
about to
all
point that
pointing
out to you. Fish are kind of stupid. They don't pay attention to islands and what's where. They. How
Hey,
are you going to
fish,
convey to a fish, point me to Gundarlun, when they have no idea what that is?
Yeah.
Fish, point me to that place you never go near.
I was going
to rock
talk about the, like dolphins or whales.
Yeah. I mean, hilariously enough, like as a player aside, I can't communicate with dolphins because they can't breathe water.
Right. Yeah, a strange side effect of that
It's
ability.
so weird. Can't be Aquaman. By Raw.
Right. Yeah, that is hilarious. Dolphins, because they don't breathe water, don't. Dolphins
no
and
whales.
porpoises and whales.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or orcas. All right. So the rest of the day and evening, or the rest of the evening after the repairs are done, everybody is just kind of trying to catch their breath and rest and relax on the ship. Chandri is trying to go around and help as much, to recoup some of the people that were injured when they fell overboard. She's uses her magic to cure them, and after that just resorts on tying poultices and using her medicinal skills to aid in the healing of the crew as Braun and Vaden are helping mend the ship. Everybody's spirits seem to be flagging quite heavily due to the fact that they're lost and they have begun to encounter such adversity as they did not expect. Is there anyone who would like to do anything?
Braun, after he gets through helping mend the ship, he's going to look around for some small casks, say, not real large, but fairly small. Get
Okay.
4 or 5 of them and tie them together with ropes, and then tie them around his waist in case he gets thrown overboard again. He's going to have a flotation device.
Yeah, so yeah, you do get a few strange looks as you come back out with this rope tied, up and over your shoulder and around your waist with these little bitty barrels, tied off to it.
Xanareth is
I'll
going
tell you, if dwarfs were meant to swim, more of them would have gave us flippers.
Yeah, you do notice that after you come back up on the deck, kind of draped out in this type of gear, that Storr disappears for a few minutes, and then he reappears on decks with a similar device wrapped around himself. And it seems that he is kind of, he thinks that's a pretty good idea, and he isn't too keen on falling overboard either. It doesn't look like he is much of a sailor, has much, experience with the sea, so.
Xanareth is going to find some rum and have a couple of drinks, and then at night is going to try, he's going to carve some wings and try and attach them to bronze floaties. in the middle of the night.
All right, give me a stealth check.
Sure.
And Braun, since you would be asleep at this time, you can give me a perception check, but with disadvantage. Oh no.
Oh, hi there.
Oh.
Yeah, so Braun, you're laying there asleep in the middle of the night. You wake up to look over just as Xanareth is attaching the second wing to one of your barrels.
Hi. And I'm going to just drop it and just take off up to the deck.
I mean, Braun's going to smile at this and go ahead and attach the wings on it. And say,
So, Xanareth, when you finally come back down, you notice that now all of the barrels have the wings attached.
Awesome.
What a nice man.
Right?
Yeah, so the crew sleeps fitfully, worried about what the next day may hold, and gets underway. The captain looks at the stars, lays out her charts, determines where she thinks you are, and makes her heading, and the next day you guys set off. That day, the 7th, goes by uneventfully, and the next night, and finally the next day she sees some land off in the distance, which she steers away from, but she alerts the crew to the fact that she has gotten her bearings, and she now knows the location of the ship, and that you've only lost a couple of days by being blown off course by the storm. And so it is that about mid-afternoon on that third day, you're now finally appear to be making headway on your journey when the ship suddenly feels as if it has struck another rock, but not quite. And suddenly huge tentacles come up, flapping over the sides of the ship and begin trying to grasp at crew members and yourselves. And that is where we will call it for this week.
Boy.
I wonder
Kraken!
what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
If it were Kraken, we're dead.
Yeah, right?
True.
Man, that would be awful.
Probably next week, hoping.
I'm not that evil of a GM to spring a Kraken on you guys at level 2.
We see a Kraken and we just pray for it.
If we had more water wings, we could tie them to the tentacles and then you have to
Could we communicate with it?
That's
Depending.
how Nemo did it, right? Little winged floaties.